Good afternoon, Empower and Thrive channel here. Welcome to new subscribers and welcome to all new watchers. Now, an Afghan refugee has taken his case to the court in the United Kingdom. A 21-year-old had qualified to apply for British citizenship and has had indefinite leave to remain for the last um, 5 years, and was going to apply for his British citizenship on the 1st of March this very year. Now you can imagine somebody arrives the United Kingdom in the unconventional way, qualifies for British citizenship, and then within weeks the laws turn around and he can now not apply for British citizenship. He said it has caused him a lot of anxieties, a lot of stress, and like any other immigrant or refugee, it would do exactly the same thing. This causes a lot of stress for immigrants who would potentially want to travel and actually embrace life within the United Kingdom and feel more at ease and integrated into society. Unfortunately, this is now not the case for him alongside other immigrants. And this case could turn things around potentially and reverse the 10th of February policy that states that all immigrants that came on boats, small boats, and any other unconventional way would not be able to apply for British citizenship. Why? Because they are saying that the character requirement falls short um, for them to qualify for British citizenship. Anybody that would come in an unconventional way, apparently, according to the policy, has failed the character requirement test. The character requirements for British citizenship are quite numerous, and apparently it is quite expanded. I will not go into it today. The international law treaties such as the 1951 UN Refugee Convention, which state that asylum seekers and refugees should not be penalized for illegal entry. The convention states that it should make every effort to expedite naturalization proceedings. In other words, um, every should be made by the country that is receiving the refugee to actually naturalize that asylum seeker. Now, this 21-year-old man said that he came and was fleeing the Taliban's in Afghanistan. That is part of the reason why he actually came and into the Kingdom. And since then, he has actually done well and integrated into the society. The legal challenge argues that the new policy misinterprets the true legal position of the good character requirement in the 1981 British Nationality Act, and it is therefore unlawful, and it says it also breaches parts of the European Convention on Human Rights and Equality legislation. So technically, what the challenge is that not or refusing asylum seekers to apply for British citizenship after the qualifying period is being breached, and it is against the European Convention and actually the equality legislation as well, because the equality legislation, um, you'll find that it encompasses the human rights as well, and where um, there is human rights, there's also equality. So equality means that everybody would have to be treated equally, regardless of their race, religion, and color, and everything else. So this is what is standing now. This is now the latest news under the against the 10th of February policy that is ongoing in the United Kingdom. We are going to hear more. We are going to see more about this case, and I believe that the court, the lawyer that is taking on the case is a very well established lawyer, and I believe that this is going to turn things around for asylum seekers who, out of something that is not their own doing. Asylum seekers do not ask to leave their country deliberately. You might argue that there are asylum seekers, there are economic asylum seekers leaving their country to come and look for greener pastures in other European and Western countries. That is true, and it is there. That is true. No asylum seeker, I repeat, no asylum seeker would want to leave their country in the unconventional way to actually come to another country to, to actually see a range of trials, a range of challenges, because refugees do go through a lot. When they arrive into another country, they face a significant amount of discrimination, they face housing issues, they have financial challenges, and they find it hard to even get employment when their paper has not been established. They might get some stipends here and there in a country, such as United Kingdom, but it is rarely, substantial. It can still leave them in a lot of challenges. Is the help appreciated? I'm sure it is appreciated. I'm going to give myself, my family, as an example that left the war in Uganda in 1971. I was probably about um, 2 years old, roughly, then, and my family had to flee. Why? Because my father at that time was in the Idi Amin government, and anybody, whether you were known to do anything wrong or not, it didn't matter, and that was not the point. But that you were in the Idi Amin government made you somebody that was sought and an enemy to the government that was overthrowing. So my family had to flee, and my father had to go a different route, and me, my siblings, and my mother had to flee a different route. I remember we were in boarding school at the time, and all I remember, me and my sister, what we could hear was gunshots. We were the last ones to leave that school, one of the few last ones. We were put in a room higher up and further away from the gates of the boarding school, and everything was silent and quiet. Everybody had fled and left, um, had left the school, had left the boarding school. Now, we didn't even go back home to the city where we live, where the family house was. Instead, a car came, took us. My mother came, took me and my sister in the car, and that was it. We left the borders and went through to Zaire, and which is Congo, and went through, stayed in Zaire probably for approximately few months. I don't even remember exactly, maybe a year. Went to Kenya, Mombasa, stayed for approximately another year, missed out on education. My mother had to face a lot of challenges, because all she would then hear was and get news that my father was no longer with us. And by God's grace, he's still with us. But my mother, may her soul rest in peace, died in the year 2007. She brought us up in Kenya for the next 10 years after that. We went to school, we went to boarding schools that were challenging to be in, and life was not easy in an African boarding school then. She started businesses. It wasn't easy, because at that time, she had to be away from my father, and my father would visit from time to time, and she would hear negative news. It was a very challenging time, but we made it. And was life okay in Kenya? Life was wonderful and beautiful in Kenya. People were lovely to us, and there were sometimes challenges of discrimination. Sometimes there may have been some stipends that my mother may receive in terms of uniform and so forth. But that makes me very passionate about immigrants going to live and fleeing their countries to live in another country. It is not always chosen, it is not always something that they wish for, but it is something they find themselves in very often, find themselves in that situation. As I said, we are looking and keeping an eye on this case and on this matter, and I will update you. If you have been blessed by this video and it has encouraged you and it has been of help, please do well to subscribe, share, like, and comment. Let us share your views. Are you an asylum seeker? How do you feel about this 10th of February policy in the United Kingdom? How will it impact on your life? Thank you very much. Until next time, God bless you. Bye-bye.